Hi everyone, welcome back to your weekly yoga practice. This one I dedicate to my Califit family, particularly the South Bank crew that I won't get to see this week, but I will see you next week. However, all my Califit family, hi, love you. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me. Everyone else, welcome. Great to see you, you amazing humans. Thanks so much for joining me. So today we're just going to kick this one off. We're going to think whole body here, but particularly I want us to be opening up the side body through the psoas, the hip flexor, the whole way up to the neck and shoulders. So I hope you enjoy this one. I definitely enjoyed writing it. So let's start in Japanese child's pose today. And we're just going to start with some really gentle neck stretching. But I want you to shut down the eyes and really start feeling into the body. So if we close those eyes down, let's just start dropping the chin to the chest and making the letter C between the collarbones. So think chin over the left shoulder and then chin back over to the right shoulder, and gently just repeat this beautiful arc motion, keeping the neck nice and long, and just start having a think about, where is my lower body? Is my lower back just simply sitting passively? And maybe I've got, like me, I generally get a bit of a duck butt, so really bit of a lordosis, so a really archy lower back. Start tucking that core in a little bit, activating it, pulling the belly button towards the spine, and let's start just activating the whole back body in our posture, sitting beautifully and gracefully. When you are ready, let's switch up and do a nice big O, so big round circles with the head. However, when we get to the top, one thing that we can do wrong by accident is that we don't support the back of the neck, elongating the spine, as think the top of the head as close to the ceiling as we can, to really make sure we're not crunching down the back of the neck as we come up over the top of the arc. Switching directions. 2 more rounds this way. Beautiful. Bringing head back to center, opening those eyes up. Let's just drop the right hand to the mat and gently take left arm up and over the body, pushing through the right hand to help make a bit more space through the left as we reach up and over for a really gentle side stretch. If it's feeling quite nice for your body and you feel like you can go a little further here, I invite you to revolve the chest towards the ceiling. So take the gaze up to the ceiling, opening the chest. However, again, when we're going for this revolving towards the ceiling, sometimes it's easy to back bend and just dump into the lower back to make the back open towards the ceiling a little higher. That's not what we want here. This is really active. So we're thinking up and over the rib cage. So it's really the upper back is doing any of that back bending and opening for us. Beautiful work. Back to center as we switch sides. So pushing that left hand into the mat. Raise right hand up and over the body again. Gentle side bend. Pushing through the right hand to just allow more of an arch through the right hand side of the body. And if you did on the left, I invite you to revolve the chest towards the ceiling. Again, elongating the spine. So reaching as if someone had a string tied to your wrist and it was pulling and opening your body towards the back left-hand corner of the room. If it's uncomfortable to have the gaze looking upward as well, feel free, drop the head to gaze down at the mat or the knees, whatever is more comfortable for you. Beautiful work. Back to center. I'm just going to flick around here so you get a really good look at this one. So we're still in our Japanese child's pose here, but we're going to start opening the front body a little bit more with a very gentle 20% half camel. So place the hands behind the body as we face the fingers towards the buttocks. But if that's uncomfortable for your wrist, feel free, just drop it out so your hands are long down the mat, whatever feels better for you. If you're with me, we have our fingers pointing towards our buttocks. We're sitting on the heels right now, dropping the weight into our hands, so leaning back into those shoulders. But I don't want to see the rounding of the shoulders forward. Pushing through the hands to open the chest nice and wide here. if we can, activating those glutes nice and strong. So I can already feel the glutes are activated. You'll feel them squeeze against the heels as we then raise the hips gently to the sky, only a little, couple inches, raising that booty off the heels as we open the chest towards the sky. This one is an absolute killer if your shoulders are a little bit tight. So please go with it, allow the movement, use the back body here. So I always like to think, squeeze those shoulder blades together as hard as you can to open through the chest. Exhaling to the mat. 2 more rounds with your breath. So inhale, raise chest and hips to the sky. Gazes upward or towards the hips, whatever is more comfortable for your neck. If you want, you can lower the head backwards to do a large throat opener here, but whatever is more comfortable for your neck, listen to your body. Exhaling to the mat. 1 more time here. Inhale, raise chest and hips towards the sky. Exhale to the mat. Beautiful work. Dropping our booty onto the mat. We're going to wrap the right leg around the body, flexing that right foot. So we're making almost like, I like to think, a bit of a wonky letter Z. So we're going to take the left leg, make sure the shin is as parallel as is comfortable for your hips with the short edge of the mat, so the top of the mat there. So we're lining the left leg up with that, flexing that toe back as well. I've got my right leg not at a full 90-degree angle. I've wrapped that right foot back for stability because it's early in our practice, don't overdo it. And let's think here, nice and long through the body. We're using the right hand side of the body to keep ourselves nice and straight. So the body is starting to activate. That right hip flexor is starting to activate because we're flexing both of those feet back. Things are switching on. With the inhale, raising up through the chest, exhaling, winging the arms out to the side as we place the hands on the ground, but on our fingertips, so cupcake fingers, as we gently forward fold over that left leg. Trying to think if we can keep our body weight as center as possible. It's easy to just drop off over that left leg. Let's try and think nice and center. So we're thinking chin to the mat. We're not arching as much through that upper back, but here again, it's nice and gentle, so a little arch isn't the end of the world. However, thinking nice and long spine, so chin towards the mat, and you'll be feeling this one through the outside of that left hip flexor. 1 more round of breath. Beautiful work. Pushing back up through the hands as we extend the left leg down the mat. Wrap that right foot under the buttocks as we sit up and bring that knee around so that we've now got the right leg underneath the body at a 90-degree angle. Left leg is extended down the mat. Press our right hand into the mat, extending left hand up overhead for a nice long full side body opener here. Now, this can really, you can feel the compensation through your lower back if the glutes are not turned on. So I want you to think glute is on. So the right and the left are on, but right even more so right now. And we're pressing that right hip forward in space as we extend the left arm overhead. And this kind of brings the hips really nice, like forward momentum here, activating through the glutes to open the body even further. If you like here, again, feel free. Revolving chest towards the sky, keep reaching the hand up and over to have a full opener here. Beautiful work. Relaxing down to the mat. Left leg stays out nice and straight. We're bringing that right leg back to that nice little arch position here. However, we're now going through our Janusirasana, so our seated forward fold, but a half forward fold. So keeping the right leg at a nice position here. If that's uncomfortable on your hip, however, feel free to drop that knee in even closer to the body. It's really whatever feels more comfortable for you. Flexing through the left foot as we creep the fingers down the mat, thinking chin to shin as we forward fold over the left leg. If it's available to you, feel free to grab the toes, help that foot flex back up the shin as we open through the whole back side of the leg. You'll feel it particularly in the hamstring, and here I like to just take a bit of a play. If you drop the foot one side and then the other, where do you feel it? So I like to wrap the toes around to the right and then flex the foot back to the left, and you'll just have a bit of a play by wiggling that foot. Where are you finding that you've got a bit more tension through the back of the leg, the calf, behind the knee? any places that are particularly, because everyone's legs are going to be completely different. We all move in different ways. Our week is completely different from anyone else's. So you're going to feel it in different places. So have a play to make sure that you're doing the best thing for your body. One more round of breath here. Can you get a little closer? So chest to knee, chin to shin. Can we get a little bit further here? I like to chill out on a hand here and just relax. Keep pulling those toes back up the shin to activate the hamstring. Beautiful work. Pushing through the hands as we come back up, and we gently keeping the knee where it is, or if it's uncomfortable, tuck that one under. But we're just going to drop back on the hands here like we did for the half camel, and we're just going to do a half hero. Here, if it's available to you, I also invite you to simply lower down onto the elbows. Maybe that's where you go today, supporting the lower back, and you're going to feel it all through this right quad and through that hip flexor. That is what we want. Keep the right foot flexed. However, again, if you're super flexy or maybe it's quite open, I also invite you to completely lie down flat on the mat. This is one of my favorite positions. If you're going for the full lay down, and if this is available to you, and if it's not right now, it will be in the future. Everyone can do it. The body is incredible. Just got to give it time and practice. However, if you're lying down nice and long, keep flexing that big toe, but also bringing the knees as close together as they can. And if you like, pulse that right hip towards the sky to just activate a little more movement through that hip flexor, using the glute to push the hip further to the sky. One more round of breath here before we bring the knee into our chest. So bring that knee in, keep the right toe pointed as we shuffle, just pick the weight up a little bit and shuffle that left hip back to the midline of the mat as we drape the right knee over to the left, opening the arms out nice and wide. So wing those arms out nice and wide. Beautiful work. Here we're going to think alligator hands. So we'll take our right hand, alligator it across, so swing it across to meet the left, and then open the right arm back to the right side, inviting a little bit of movement to our thoracic spine. Big arm openers here. It's like a big rainbow that you're painting with the right hand. One more arc. Beautiful work. We're now going to take that right hand back to the left, but now we're going to make a big circle around the body. So make that hand as if you're painting a big circle across the top of the body, down across the hip, back out in space to meet the left hand. And again, revolve that around one more way in this direction. And then we're going to switch direction. So now we're going to reverse that. Big circles around the body, opening through the top body, closing as we meet right hand to the left. Keep opening that shoulder. Beautiful work. Coming back onto your back, bring right knee back into the chest as we bring in the left leg at a 90-degree angle. Take the right foot, cross it over the left knee for figure four. Laying down figure four. Now with your figure four, depends where you feel more comfortable. You might want to take the hands and just cross them behind the left thigh, or you might want to push that right knee out in space and grab the foot and bring that closer towards the body. Or you might want to thread the hands through, grabbing the front of the left shin. You might need to raise the head and upper back off the ground to get there momentarily, but keep everything nice and planted on the ground, activating and lowering the complete lower back. So think tailbone to the ground, keeping the spine nice and flat as we flex the right foot, pulling that back in space. So I like to pull against the left shin to help me with the right hip opener. But again, whatever feels best to you. There's so many variations here. You could go pretty crazy with it if you wanted. Beautiful work. Taking both feet to just below the buttocks. Taking the hands nice and long, palms facing up or down, whatever you feel is the most supported for you as we prepare for bridge pose. So spine is nice and long, and we're going to start peeling the buttocks, the lower back and the back off the ground one piece at a time. However, to do that, we want glutes are on, core are on. So switch everything on nice and strong with the inhale, raising, rolling, just wrapping that buttocks off the ground, lower back, upper back. Keeping glutes switched on. So this is all nice and strong here. Pushing through the hands, keeping the shoulders and the head and the neck nice and long down the mat. We're not moving those at all. And if this helps you a little bit further, just think, push those heels into the mat. So I even raise the toes momentarily to really activate my heels, pushing through the heels, raising those hips even higher. Exhaling to the mat. Beautiful work. Rock and rolling to come back up to a seated position as we switch to the other side. So take that right shin now, make it nice and long down the mat, wrap that left leg around the body. Inhaling as we rise up, exhaling as we fold over the right leg, winging those hands out, making our cupcake fingers. Here again, try and bring the body back to the midline of the mat and just have a bit of a moment to sense which side feels a little more tighter. There's always going to be some little bits and bobs in the body that one side is a bit out of whack with the other. Maybe we use one leg more than the other. Totally natural. And that's why we always want to have a unique practice for what our body needs. If you need a couple more seconds on this side, take it. Honor your body. With every breath, can you go a little bit further? And again, thinking chin towards the mat. So not rounding as much here, but as we said previously, not the end of the world if we have a little bit of a rounding through that upper back at this point in time. It's totally fine. Beautiful work. Coming back up to a seated position as we keep that left leg wrapped underneath the body, bring it back towards the buttocks just a little. As we extend that right leg down the mat, pushing through the left hand, coming up to use that left glute to push the left hip forward in space as we open the side body for a big rainbow side body opener. Now, if you did on the other side, I invite you to revolve the chest towards the ceiling. Again, keep those glutes switched on. It might even be more comfortable depending what you want, step on fingertips, or maybe you keep the left toes curled underneath. I like to go a flat foot, whatever feels more comfortable for you. Keep thinking up and over with that right arm to open through the whole side body, revolving towards the ceiling with length. Exhaling back down to the mat. Kicking that left foot back out if it was underneath the body there. Flexing through the left foot, making that nice little angle with the knee there as we forward fold over the right leg for our half-seated forward fold. Now my right leg is generally tighter than my left, so I don't have as much space on this one. So here I want to keep flexing through the big toes, and I like to grab the bottom of the foot if it's available to you, and gently just trying to keep those hips squared off in space. Because when we get a really tight hamstring, it's super easy to start kind of pulling the hips back towards and twisting in a weird way instead of keeping everything nice and center. Because when those muscles and tendons and everything are tight, they're going to be pulling in one direction, and we want to counter that. So keep thinking body and chin towards the midline of the mat, squaring the hips off over the hamstring, pulling those toes back in space. And I even find I've really got to concentrate sometimes when my hammies are pretty tight, that my toes even like to flex and the foot moves out over to the right hand corner of the room. I've got to bring that back center. So just have a look and see, how does my body position itself? What is my natural posture when things are a little bit tight? It's all about really taking a bit of curiosity towards your own body and how it reacts to certain situations, and just doing what is right for your body, because we are all different. Beautiful work. Coming back up as we again go to our half hero. So if you were coming up onto your forearms and this is where you're at, then that is where you're at. If you've got super tight quads and hammies, that's that. That's all we can do, right? That may be what your body needs right now. Or I invite you, if you had previously, come on down to where you feel comfortable. So maybe onto the forearms, or lowering to the ground. Keeping that left foot flexed in space, try to keep the knee closer towards the midline of the mat. Maybe take the right leg, remembering flexing that right toe to keep both legs active here to help. And if you like, if you've done the previous round, using the left glute, pulse that left hip towards the sky. So just gently raising the hip up using the glute to further open that hip flexor. Hip flexors can be an absolute doozy. So the more we kind of work with them and invite movement and gentle opening, the better. Beautiful work. bringing that left knee into your chest as we prepare for our gentle side twist with arm arc. However, we want to bring that right leg a little bit over more towards the midline. Take the right hip to the center of the mat as we drop that left knee over the body to touch the mat on the other side, or the ground next to your mat. Wing those arms out nice and wide, and over time we always want to be able to keep the shoulders flat on the mat, but early in our practice that can be hard to do. So let's invite some movement to help with that. So let's take our left hand and alligator it over to the right arm. With the inhale, opening the arm like you're painting a big rainbow across the sky. Open that arm up. Exhaling to meet the palms together again. 2 more rounds with your own breath. Inhale. Exhale it back over. 1 more round. And just keep thinking, I'm activating the upper back. I'm allowing a little bit of movement here, creating a nice gentle twist. As we bring those hands back together, let's start with our big open circles. Taking that arm, taking it across the top of the mat, out to the left-hand side of the body, gently paint it across the left hip, bringing the hands to meet again on the right-hand side, and then circling it around the body. 1 more in this direction before we switch, and then reverse your circles. It's a really beautiful way to just slowly activate things in one of the most gentlest, most supported positions we can in our supine, lying down positions. Beautiful work. Bringing those hands back together as we then roll back onto our back, bringing knee into our chest and preparing for our figure 4. So bend right knee towards the chest, making a 90-degree angle there as we cross the left foot over to meet the right thigh. Again, choose your adventure where you want to put your hands, but I like to thread my hands through, grabbing the front of the right shin as I actively push that left hip out in space and pull that right knee back towards the body to increase the stretch through the outside of the quad, the booty, lower back. But the whole time we're thinking the whole back is pressed into the mat. Keep flexing that left foot back in space to keep everything nice and active here. Exhaling to the mat. Now, I'm going to invite one additional pose here in our lay down position, our prone position, but only if you feel that you're up to it. If you have a neck condition, upper back condition, frozen shoulders, anything like that, please do not proceed on this next pose. Feel free, go back to figure 4, keep chilling on that, or stay with your bridge that we did on our first round. However, if you're with me and you'd like to try your plow pose, so we're going to be pushing through the feet, and just to warm up, we're going to bridge. So think of the feeling that we have here with everything activating. Lowering booty to the mat. We're going to push through the hands, so nice and support. Palms are facing down. Here, thinking like your shoulder stand or reverse headstand, anything like that. So we're thinking bringing knees into chest as we kick the feet towards the sky, using our core, pushing through those hands, and we drape the feet up and over to touch the ground behind us. We are keeping the neck and upper back in the exact same position the whole time. Do not move the neck. Do not try and bring your chin into your chest. Keep everything nice and supported here. And I like to just point the toes and really find some movement through the upper back. Flexing the toes for support. And then gently bending the knees into the head. Keep those hands down the ground for support. You are staying on the tops of the shoulders. You are not moving that. And gently, with the core active, slowly rolling down to the mat. Take the feet to the ground, and then we'll gently just rock and roll back up to a seated position. This is your chance to press pause, take a break, have a quick sip of water, and then we will move on to our next section. Beautiful. Let's do this. So we're going to come to a standing position. So tuck the toes, wrap the hips, briefly meeting in our forward fold, Uttanasana. Let's shuffle those feet out to hip width position. Gently just let the belly rest through the thighs, relaxing, head nice and heavy as we open out from our plow position. Inhale, raising arms to the sky, tall mountain. Exhale, forward fold, bending through the knees briefly to meet in forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. As we push through the hands, for this round, we'll step back to our high plank. Everything is nice and active here. Stay for the in-breath as we round through the upper back. If you like, drop to knees so you're nice and supported here. However, we're gonna bend at the elbows, chaturanga, as we lower belly to the ground. Let's begin with a cobra pose. Hands beside the rib cage, pressing through the tops of the feet, quads, glutes are on. Pull that belly button towards the spine, keeping the elbows nice and tight towards the body, raising chest to the sky, cobra pose. Exhaling to the mat. Tucking those toes, pushing through the hands, raising hips to the sky, downward facing dog. Now, keeping the feet at hip width, hands at shoulder width, activating through the side body, wrapping those armpits and triceps under the body, pushing through your index and thumb knuckle as we activate the core to raise right leg to the sky. Exhale, step that right leg between the hands. And here, instead of going for our low lunge, we're gonna take it to a next level pretty quick. So I want you to think, scissor those thighs together, so nice and tight through the core. Take the belly off the thigh, and when you are ready, pushing through the feet, activating through your left leg, so pushing out through the left heel as we raise hands to the sky, high lunge. Here we need to keep everything very active and through the midline, so keep pressing everything together here. And if you find you've got the wobbles, embrace it. It's yoga. There is no losing or winning yoga because you do or do not wobble. Beautiful work. Taking the right hand down to the back of the left thigh, reverse the lunge. Again, embrace the wobbles, but I'd like you to keep that left leg nice and active. We're thinking long up and over through the body, keeping a generous bend through the right knee, reaching the left hand to the sky. As we arc towards the back, you're gonna feel this through the hip flexor, the psoas, all of those fun positions. Inhale, hands to the sky, bringing the hands to prayer. Bringing hands to heart center. Everything is very active here, core is active. As we twist the body towards the right-hand side of our mat, and we're gonna hook the left elbow on the outside of the right knee for twisted prayer. Now, with our twisted prayer, we want to keep pushing that right knee against the left elbow as we use the core in the upper back to open the chest. So we want to eventually get our hands to stay at heart center, so the midline of the chest. Here, keep pulling that right hip back in space, pushing through the left heel, opening to look up and over the right shoulder. Exhaling, hands to the mat as we shuffle that right foot down the mat just a little. And then you're gonna come onto the knife edge of the right foot for a reverse Skandasana. So we're gonna drop that left heel towards the mat, keeping our left leg nice and long down the mat. We're on the right blade of our foot, knees at a nice little tilt for reverse Skandasana. And then we're going to push through the left hand, raise the hips towards the sky. And you're gonna feel that through the whole outside of the quad, the hip, the booty. If that's uncomfortable for you and you don't feel you've got support through the left shoulder, totally fine. Keep both hands on the mat, and maybe this is where you stay. If you're with me, raise right hand to the sky and arc it up and over the body as we push the right hip towards the sky. Exhale down to the mat, dropping the right hand to the left knee. Inhale up and over the body. Exhale to the mat. One more time here. Hips to the sky. Keep pushing and opening. Can you find more opening through the side body, the outside of the hip? Exhaling to the mat. Beautiful work. Pushing right hand to the mat, stepping the right foot back to meet in high plank. Inhaling at the top. Exhale, chaturanga. Now we're not going to lower to the ground here. We're staying hovering. Pushing through the tops of the feet, raising hips off the mat, looking up, raising chest to the sky, upward facing dog. If this is uncomfortable, feel free, stay with our cobra or striking cobra, whichever you feel more comfortable, or even Sphinx pose. Sphinx is beautiful, keeping the hands at a 90-degree angle, pulling the chest through, activating the whole lower body. However, up dog, if you're working on your back bends, is divine. Gazing towards the ceiling, pushing through the hips towards the mat, but raising them up. They're not sitting on the mat right now. Exhaling as we wrap up and over the toes, rolling over the toes, hips to the sky, downward facing dog. Take a couple rounds of breath here. If you need, at any time, drop into child's pose, take a breather, press pause, no drama at all. If you are ready, inhaling, left leg to the sky, three-legged dog, left leg up and back, left knee to chest, and then stepping that through as we raise up, high lunge. One breath here to get the body, that midline nice and strong. Exhaling, left hand to the back of right thigh as we reach right hand up and over, reverse high lunge. Really feel the opening through that hip flexor as you push through the right heel. Taking the gaze over that left shoulder. Exhale, hands back to middle. Bringing hands to heart center as we twist to the left, catching the right elbow on the outside of the left knee, bringing that left knee out in space. So pushing the left knee against that right elbow and twisting to open the upper body. Looking out over that left shoulder, trying to keep the prayer hands at heart center. Exhaling, hands to the mat as we prepare for our reverse Skandasana on the other side. So we'll shuffle that left foot further down the mat. Come onto the knife edge of the foot. So now the foot is straight out towards the long edge of the mat, dropping the right hip towards the mat, keeping that right leg nice and long. If you did before, keep both hands on the mat and maybe that's where you chill. Or if you're with me, pressing through the right hand as we raise the hips to the sky, left hand up and over the head for a nice big rainbow. Pushing that left hip up in space to really open through the booty, the hip, the side of the quad, and then the whole side body. Exhaling to the ground, left hand to right knee. Inhale, raise hips to the sky. Exhale to the mat. Beautiful work. One more time here. Exhale to the mat. Beautiful work. Stepping that left foot back in space as we form our high plank. Booty is on, pushing through the hands, rounding the upper back. Stay for the inhale. Exhale, chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Hips off the sky, pushing through those toes. Glutes are on. And then we roll up and over the toes, pushing back to our downward facing dog. When you are ready, taking a nice little step or a hop to the front of the mat, to meet in forward fold as we then inhale, halfway lift flat back, exhale, forward fold, inhale, high mountain, exhale, Tadasana. Take a moment, catch your breath, maybe you want to close the eyes and just really sense into the body where you're feeling everything right now. It's warm in Brisbane this weekend, so take a drink break. When you are ready. Raising hands to the sky, tall mountain. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift flat back. Exhale, as we push, just gently push the hands onto the mat to step the right leg back in space. Preparing high lunge, hands to the sky, keeping everything tight through that midline. Pulling that right hip forward in space, tucking the tail under to keep opening through that quad and hip. As we bring that left hip back in space, think squaring off those hips. Hands to the sky, create lots of length through the side body. Pushing through the right heel. As we exhale to open the body to the right hand side. Right hand to the back, left hand to the front. As we go to warrior two position. One round of breath here. Exhale, right hand to right thigh as we reach left hand up and over, for reverse warrior. Again, thinking up and over the rib cage. Exhale as we keep that left knee nice and bent. We're going to take our left forearm and place it on the left thigh. I don't want you to have much weight on this arm though. If it's within your practice as well, feel free, lengthen that left arm down the inside of the left leg, but don't take those fingertips to the floor. If you do, very lightly touching. Do not put your weight into that hand. That's not the point of this one. So resting that forearm, that left forearm on left thigh, as we arc the right arm down the body, up past the face, bring it up and over the body, keeping that right leg nice and long, pushing through the outside blade of that right foot as we open for side angle. Keeping the right arm nice and long over body. Beautiful work. Straightening through the left leg now as we wing the arms out nice and long. Right hand straight to the sky, left hand down inside the left knee, pushing through both feet here as we open for Trikonasana. Big side body opener here. I love this one. To really help with this, keep thinking glutes are on and pull that right hip back. Think activating through here. And we don't want to dump onto that leg. We want to be completely active through the core. Beautiful work. Bending into the left knee, opening the wings for warrior two. Reverse the warrior. Exhale, winging the arms back around to the mat as we step that left foot back in space for high plank. Stay for the inhale. Exhale, lowering to the ground, chaturanga. Upward facing dog or cobra, whatever your choice on that one. Back to downward facing dog. Beautiful work. When you are ready, raising right leg to the sky, bringing right knee to chest as we step the right hand between the hands. Raise, high lunge. Exhale, opening warrior two on the other side. So right hand forward in space, left hand towards the back of the mat. Left leg is nice and long and straight, pushing through the outside blade of that left foot. Generous bend through the right knee, but tuck that right booty underneath the body. It's super easy to pop that butt out here. Keep it wrapped underneath. Stretching through the hands as we then reverse the warrior. Drop the left hand to the left thigh, raise right hand up and over as if you're gonna high five that back wall or someone towards the ceiling. Exhale, warrior two briefly as we bend and place the right forearm on the right thigh for side angle. Sweeping that left hand down in front of the body, up and over the head to open the chest towards the sky. Again, keep the right arm on the right thigh, but very lightly. You could move it at any time and still be held here in space. Maybe open the right hand, and I like to use the right elbow to press that right knee further open in space. Big side body opener here. One more inhale. And on the exhale, straightening the right leg, keeping that right arm reached down nice and long in front of the right knee as we straighten the right arm to the sky, opening the chest and the shoulder, using that left booty to roll that hip further open, looking towards the top hand, or if that's uncomfortable on the neck, feel free to look down at that right shin. Whatever feels better for Trikonasana. Inhaling back to warrior two, bending through the right knee. Exhale, reverse the warrior. As we then folding over, hands to the mat, come back to your low lunge briefly as we step that right foot back and then bend through the knees, meeting in child's pose. Drop booty towards the heels and just rest the head on the mat. Take a couple rounds of breath here. And when you are ready, we're just going to come onto our booty, wrap the legs around, shuffle down the mat again, and then come down to a beautiful lying down position. I know by this point you're probably thinking, thank gosh. Not 100% done yet. Now, on the previous round, if you hadn't tried your plow pose yet, we're gonna go one more time. However, if you're like, I've got neck problems, shoulder problems, that is not for me. A-okay. Feel free, enjoy your bridge, or if you have a block available, maybe take a block, place it underneath the sacrum for a supported bridge. Feels amazing. If you're with me and you want to go plow one more time to open that back body, as we've just done a whole lot of other movements through the sides, pressing through the hands, knees towards the chest, as we shoot those legs up and over the back of the body using our core and glutes for plow. So keeping that neck and whole top of the back, I like to shuffle it around, find the right position before I touch the toes down. And then just flexing the toes back to really open through the hamstrings and the whole back body. If it's available to and you want to have a play, feel free. Wrap the hands around the back of the legs, and I like to squeeze the knees towards the chest and have a big back stretch. As we gently roll the hips back down to the mat, bring the knees up at a 90-degree angle, split them out so that your knees are on either side of the body, and if it's available, grabbing the outside of the feet or the backs of the thighs, whatever is more comfy for you, as we pull those knees towards the armpits for happy baby. Keep thinking to really plant that lower back on the ground. And if your baby is really happy, take a gentle rock side to side. And when you're ready, line legs long down the mat for your Shavasana. Now I'm going to leave you here, have as much time in Shavasana as you need. However, I hope you enjoyed your practice. Thank you for sharing it with me. See you again soon. Namaste.